Hey guys, how's it going? It's Blaze, back with some more One Piece TCG content for y'all. So obviously, everybody's been debating over the past couple weeks about what the upcoming April 1st ban list will include, what Bandai is going to hit, what they're going to unban, and today is the day we did in fact get that list. A lot of people are going to be happy about it, a lot of people are going to be annoyed about it. I think the biggest thing is that everyone did kind of see coming what the major ban was going to be, and yep, the day has arrived. As always, if you subscribe to my channel, like the video, and leave a comment, you will be entered into the giveaway for my OP13 Ace, Sabo, and Luffy alternate art card. That giveaway winner will be announced as soon as the channel hits 1,000 subscribers, so tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom, everybody subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and you have a chance at winning this nice little OP13 altar right here. Look at how cute that is. All right, let's get into the new ban list announcements. The big ban card, there's only one, and that is Charlotte Pudding. We did in fact get a pudding ban for the 4-cost on play. Your opponent returns all of the cards in their hand to their deck and then draws until they have 5 cards. A lot of people predicted this, including myself, but you know, most content creators at least had this up there on their list. Whether or not people, you know, thought it was a justified ban or not, because at the end of the day, it is one of the few cards that keeps hand size in check in a game where hand size and card advantage are kind of the name of the game in a lot of ways, with the built-in counter system and everything basically just inherently meaning you have just a lot of defensive capabilities by having a large hand. This is one card that kind of negated that. Unfortunately, as is stated here, this card has been included in various decks that include blue as an effective option against decks that keep a large number of cards in hand. However, we have determined that it significantly undermines the mind games based on hand size, which is the appeal of the One Piece card game. As such, we have decided to designate this as a banned card. And this is kind of what I was saying when I was predicting that they would ban this. It's not so much that it's a problem to have a card that reduces the hand size down to 5, but it's the fact that the way the card is designed actually kind of like undoes a lot of good play, right? In a way where it's not necessarily something that's even used to actually reduce hand size. I mean, I was playing at a Treasure Cup last weekend, and I only had 5 cards in hand as Emu playing into a Boa, and they just putting me, just because they know I've been searching my deck, they assume that I have like tools in my hand to counter out of unblockable plays, as well as, you know, my 5 Elder cards, and they're correct. I did still win that match because I drew back into another copy of 5 Elders and another different counter card, but that does reduce that part of the game. Like that turn, the advantage swing is just left so much up to RNG there that I think it's kind of like it undermines good play, right? You want to have cards that at least keep some amount of player agency if they're going to kind of answer specific things, like for example answering the idea of having a lot of cards in hand. I think I said this in my ban list like speculation video, and I would echo it here again. I just think that like if you had a card that said discard cards from your hand until you only have 5, that would negate the whole problem with this card, right? Because the problem with this card is that it completely randomizes your hand, and so any kind of like searching or anything that you've built up is removed. As they kind of said here, it undermines the mind game inherent to the way that One Piece is constructed at like a very fundamental level, which is just kind of, frankly, just like not a very fully thought through design here. And the fact that it's so generic, it's in blue, and it answers blue by being in blue, just kind of makes this a card where, you know, they're talking about if a card's super overrepresented, that's when they really start thinking about banning it. And this is one of those cards where it's just so generically good that every single blue, I think something like 95% of blue lists always run like one or two of this card. And so, yeah, I mean, that definitely qualifies as like an over representation of the card, right? So I think it makes sense why they banned this. I think what's more interesting about this ban list is the lack of other cards on here. So we didn't see anything get touched for yellow in this ban list, right? At a time where most people would agree yellow is like really the problem with the game. This feels more like a reaction to like the OP13 meta more than kind of where we're at in EBO3 right now, much less EBO4 with the Rayquaza help into Borsalino spam combo. And yeah, I do think it's a little worrying that we're heading into this like crazy yellow trigger format and Bandai's really not even trying to do anything about it. I think people are also surprised that there's not any emu hits on this list, like at all. Not even like a pair ban with ground death or anything, which is something that I heard people bring up after I made that speculation video about like what could they ban in emu without just unraveling the whole way that the deck is designed. 'Cause people wanted him to ban the stage. And, you know, I was saying there's no way that's going to happen, regardless of how you feel about the card, because you like might as well ban the leader, because the leader's whole purpose is to play off the stage. It's basically a leader that has its leader effect printed onto a stage. And that also just like makes the mirror, like it makes so many parts of the design, and you can't ban Never Existed because Never Existed is what keeps the mirror match in check and the way that it works. So like, what do you ban there? I think you could have seen a pair ban of the ground death in emu specifically if they just want to bring down the cap on how many events they run. I think then they just run World's Equilibrium instead, which is obviously not as good, but you know, it's still something. So I'm actually not too surprised to see that emu didn't really get hit, because I think it's a tough choice on what you do there. And I think the one card that does make sense to hit with the pair ban is just kind of easily swapped out for like a different black event, which, you know, would bring down the power level, but like how significant really is it when you also consider that that event is then searchable when ground death isn't? So yeah, not too surprised there. Let's move on to the cards that they unbanned. So they did unban Jimbei. I think obviously, you know, it's a little late for people who want to bring Blue Dofi back, because at the same time that this list is going to hit, we're going to see our first ever Block 1 rotation for the game, which, you know, is going to rotate all of the OP01 through OP04 leaders out of the game, right? Which I think is also another reason why they feel like okay about banning Pudding, would be because, you know, Whitebeard is also going to get banned, which is kind of like one of the decks that this card kind of existed to limit. I think you could argue Ace is even more of a problem than Whitebeard in that regard, but, you know, we'll just see how things play out. I think you can play into Ace's hand size with like some other cards that kind of answer it. You just have to chip away a little more. But as somebody who's never really played blue and had much access to this card, you know, I think it's still doable. I think it's less of a problem to let decks get these really big hands than some people are making it out to be. But we will see how that develops, right? Maybe that becomes less of the case before. But yeah, this not being in Dofi getting hit on the rotation, and this just kind of being this good little like blue body spam card, I think makes it less of an issue, because you can't do that like turbo combo off Dofi of going Teach into stack the deck into Jimbei into play out another thing and immediately have like 3 bodies on the ground in turn 2. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Something that I think is concerning though is this coming back here, the Kingdom Come, also known as Raigo in Japanese. This card coming back, main KO up to one of your opponent's characters, then trash cards from the top of your life until you have 1 life card. I guess I see the logic of it being like anti-removal is so much more prevalent throughout the whole game now that like is a removal card like this as much of a problem. But I do think just anything buffing yellow, like giving yellow more removal, especially when this then, you know, immediately puts them into Borsellino range, immediately puts them into the range of like every other heal card, right? And now we have yellow Enel suddenly looking like a threat again because he can Raigo your stuff, he can Gadatsu your stuff, and then just have all these life tools to gain cards, and then also having the leader effect of healing himself, you know, when he's at 0. I can see why some people are mad about this card. I'm definitely like not super happy. I think in the environment that we're seeing where yellow is becoming so overtuned, just giving yellow more tools in general seems just really questionable. Just in general for game balance, I think yellow is already like in kind of a toxic, you know, people call yellow heal slop, like the current state of it. And yeah, it is. And this card, you know, when that much healing and that much burn is available, also having removal where the downside of it is going down to 1 life. Going down to 1 life, you know, if you're a yellow leader, you don't really care that much because you have so many tools that just bring your life back. So you could just do this, hit a Hiyori, like say you're on 8 Dawn, you play this Hiyori Rayquaza back into your life to have Borsellino come out, like once, you know, OP15 hits. We're going to be seeing every yellow deck that can run that combo just like spamming that on 8 Dawn. It's going to be pretty obnoxious. I do think this, like, being a thing will bring stuff like Emu kind of like, it almost kind of gives it more relevance too. So I think that's another reason why, you know, oh, you have this leader with complete blanket board removal protection and you're giving yellow a card that like kind of encourages people to run stuff with board removal protection in a format where everything's getting so much board removal protection that like removal kind of isn't a thing. It's just a weird choice, right? Where it's kind of like just going to push the meta more in a direction where people kind of don't like the way the design is going, even if the card itself isn't like super overtuned or like impactful. It being available kind of drives us more into that corner with like the design flaws of the game right now. But it is back. And then another one, kind of interestingly, we do get the Great Eruption back. This is all just for the Eternal format or extended format. Obviously, this is a block 1 card, so it's being unbanned as it's rotating. And, you know, a lot of decks that run this card aren't really, like, cost removal based anymore. If you look at something like, you know, a Rob Lucci, for example, that's like a mill deck that buffs a body kind of Jesus Burgess style with just getting, you know, that really, really big new Lucci card to just go up to a huge number. There are cards that are definitely going to benefit from this though. Like I think we're seeing the stocks on green-black Perona are going up really fast because it has that inherent rest of 4 cost, and we're seeing more and more cost reduction stuff getting unbanned in the extended format. So yeah, green decks, green-black, that has the ability to like tap down and freeze and just run a lot of stun cards with so many of these cost reduction cards coming back, definitely in a much better place than previously. And then we do also have the Moby Dick being unbanned. Whitebeard's rotating out of the main format, but I could definitely see how Whitebeard, with this back and with Pudding being banned, in the extended format, I think people might cook with Whitebeard. I mean, this is really strong, and it's a really strong deck, you know, that we saw. We even saw some tops with Whitebeard far beyond the early red metas from people who are really dedicated to it. So I do expect we'll see some cooking on this card right here. And then we do also have the Ennie's Lobby coming back. kind of predicted this one, even though it's sort of crazy. I did not predict that we would also see the Ice Age come back. So we have like full cost reduction power back for black in extended now, which is kind of crazy. I mean, 1 Don -5, -2 for free every turn here, minus another 2, and then on a leader like Lucci, you know, you're also having the -1. We've got like full 10 cost minusing in a turn very, very easily, if not more than that, with the unban of all these cards, right? So you can really get stuff all the way back down to like the absolute peak of black removal. The question is, does that actually make black removal good again in the extended format? And we'll just have to see how much of the removal protection type decks kind of get back in there. I think Bandai's kind of saying here, like, we've printed so much removal protection into the game that we don't really see these cards, like cost reduction removal is just less viable than it's ever been. So they don't see these cards as much of a problem anymore. We'll have to see what the consequences of this are. Obviously, you know, there's plenty of decks that do stuff other than removal based on cost thresholds. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think we're gonna see some of the black decks that people, you know, weren't as much a fan of come back. Particularly, I think the obvious deck that benefits from this a lot is going to be Sakazuki. The only thing that like really keeps Sakazuki from coming back, because he has bottom deck removal as opposed to just KO removal, is just, are people going to bring Emu into the extended format to try to snipe these black removal decks that are kind of coming back? And I think, I mean, as an Emu player, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know, maybe you do enter some of those extended tournaments and just bring Emu in there to just crush the dreams of some of these black removal players. Which is funny because I'm also a black removal player, so I'm also thinking, can I play like old school Lucci with, you know, some of the new support, but actually treat it more like a cost removal deck again, and like not just get completely dunked on by Emus coming back? So there's like two different devils sitting on my shoulder as a black player, kind of trying to influence me of like, you know, what is the move for extended? Because I'm definitely interested in playing in some extended tournaments for sure. But yeah, very interesting ban and unban list here. Almost more so due to the unbans and the lack of bans than the bans themselves. I think Pudding was kind of like the #1 thing people expected to get banned on top of everybody's list. But yeah, I mean, here we are. All right, y'all. Well, let me know what you think about this list. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, peace.